Carl Boltzmann here, and welcome back to my studio. In this video, I'm going to be deconstructing the samples from DJ Shadow's excellent 1997 track, High Noon. We're going to start off with this intro guitar. And that guitar comes from the band Giant Crab and their track The Answer Is No from 1968. So we're going to detune this sample by about a full semitone. So High Noon is a little bit out of tune, and this sample is just a tiny bit sharp. So now I'm just going to chop this sample up. But if you want a more detailed explanation on how I fit this in, the way that DJ Shadow did, yesterday I recorded an hour-long live stream where I deconstructed this song start to finish. And so if you want to see exactly what I did there, you're welcome to watch that video. I will have a link to that in the description of this video. So the next sample that comes in are the excellent drums. And those drums were sampled from Jimi Hendrix's Day Tripper, which was the German release from 1979. So that there is Mitch Mitchell just going wild on the drums. And his style is sort of, there's a lot of ghost notes, there's a lot of activity going on in his style of drumming. And one of the things that DJ Shadow is so good at is understanding a really nice groove when he hears it. So let's take a look at some of the cuts that were made. The next sample that comes in is here at around the 7-second mark. And it sounds a little bit like a messy rhythm guitar in the left channel. And that's coming from David Hemmings and his song War's Mystery from 1967. DJ Shadow actually samples this track twice in High Noon, but we're going to start with this one. So here's what that sounds like all cut up. And if we put that all the way in the left channel, and we play that with the rest of these samples. So the next sample to come in is the bass. And the bass comes to us from Hardin and York and their track Cowboy from 1971.
Born in San Diego.
So if you like one of these tracks and you want to listen to it all the way through, I have all of these tracks linked in the description of the video if you want to check that out. So I've chopped that sample up and placed it here. So let's hear that in the context with the rest of these samples. So hopefully you heard that spacey guitar sound come in here. And that sample is taken from Dennis Farnon and their track Nuremberg Ring. Shout out to a listener who goes by Nicholas. I'll have his YouTube channel linked in the description as well. He had done his own deconstruction of High Noon, and he reached out to talk about some of the cuts and things, and he really helped me out a lot with this one in particular. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Nicholas. Thanks so much for that. I would also like to shout out Dr. Jackhammer, who found a lot of these samples, including this one here, with some pretty ingenious techniques. So I just want to give thanks to the sample hunters out there that make this kind of content possible. So let's take a look at the cuts that have to happen that turn this into this. So it's pitched down by about half a semitone, and the EQing is really important here, because you need to take out those hi-hats. Here it is without that taken out. Anyway, it sounds terrible. So once you EQ out the hats and the bass, it sounds like this. And so as we move forward, a new keyboard comes in. And that comes to us from the Calliope and their cover of California Dreaming from 1968.
Echo the eggshell laughter of lovers on another plane.
And so let's just quickly sample that in. So at this point, you hear an escalation with cymbals and rides, and the drums pick up a little bit. So that sample is still missing, but to me, it's really important with this recreation to have something like that there. So I just quickly recorded those drums. And then we also have a new sample as well. So take about 5 seconds here and guess what instrument this is. If you guessed harmonica, congratulations, you have a much better ear than I do. And that harmonica comes from Kate Wolf, the Wildwood Flower, and the Cache Valley Drifters, and their 1977 track, The Heart.
There is a story that's been told before.
So I just went ahead and popped that sample in here. To my ears, there's such a depth of emotion to that harmonica and the way that it's used here. Like, it sounds like somebody blasting a horn. Anyway, let's move on to the next sample that comes in. And that guitar is taken once again from David Hemmings in his track War's Mystery from 1967. Now, this is the intro to this track. So to me, this period of Shadow is one of my favorites. This is around the time that he was making science fiction with Uncle. And in that interview that I talked about earlier, they asked DJ Shadow if he was interested in keyboards or synthesizers. And he responded by talking about his love for synthesizers and bands like Depeche Mode. But he said that he wasn't able to afford synthesizers, and so he went the route of sampling. I do really wonder, with DJ Shadow's talents, what he could have made if finances weren't an issue and he was able to somehow afford synthesizers around this time. It's probably for the best that he stuck with samples, to be honest, because we got this phenomenal music. But I bring that up because at this point in the track, he samples somebody else's synthesizer to complete his song. And that person is Michael Garrison and their 1982 track, Airborn. So it's up by a semitone in a little bit. So that really pretty melodic piano comes from Rena, Sinakin, and their track Lover, I Love You from 1973.
And it seems like a very short time too.
Thank you so much for checking out this deconstruction. I also want to give a shout out to everybody that showed up to the live stream yesterday. There was a lot of positivity and knowledge in the chat. And so I just want to say thanks to everyone that showed up. I really appreciate it, and I'll be doing more of those in the near future. And on that note, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.